Vous avez un véhicule bien entretenu, en bonne condition? Ça tombe bien, c'est exactement ce qu'on cherche chez Gervais Auto. Paiement le jour même, transaction rapide et sans tracas. Pas mal mieux que sur Marketplace, hein? En février, faites affaire avec la référence en Mauricie. Rendez-vous sur le gervaiauto.com. En février, l'équipe Gervais Auto continue de grandir. On recrute des représentants des ventes, des mécaniciens automobiles et des pros de la finance dans le domaine de l'auto. Ça t'intéresse? Envoie-nous tes infos maintenant à rh@gervaiauto.com.
Let's talk some baseball here. Billed as the most radical changes to baseball ever. And this is a sport that went from underhand to overhand at one point. But 10 days into the Major League Baseball season, and the early returns are promising. With a pitch clock in place, the average time for a game to be played is 2 hours and 38 minutes. That's about a half an hour less. And batters are getting more hits. And once they're on base, they're stealing more bases. So can we say that baseball's new rules are a success? Let's go to David Samson, the host of Nothing Personal with David Samson, and of course, former executive vice president with the Montreal Expos. David, you always say yes to our requests to come on. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Hope you're doing well.
You have a soft spot in your heart for Montreal. Despite everything that happened, you still have that spot in your heart for this city?
Of course. I happen to love Montreal. It's one of the most beautiful cities in North America, and I love going back, and I love the passion that people still feel, and I love the fact that Jack Todd still calls me a zero every single week.
Well, David, listen, as a broadcaster, I'm a big fan of yours, so let's talk some baseball rules here. What do you what's your take here? These three new rules, a pitch clock, bigger bases, and limits on shifts, have they worked?
Well, I think it's way too early to say whether they've worked. It's exciting that the game times are down. I'm jealous because I would get home after midnight all the time for all those 18 years, and now it feels like the games are starting a little earlier. Many teams are doing 6:40 games, and they can be over by 9 o'clock, which is unheard of. Sometimes you're in the fourth inning at that point. But I think baseball is going to take at least this year to look at the stats, analyze what the impact has been. From a building a roster standpoint, there are front offices already thinking about what type of players they want to take advantage of the new rules. But overall, it's a better product to watch on TV. And that was the point of the rule changes, much more so than the in-game experience. It was to help the TV product.
Toronto Blue Jays, I guess the closest thing we now have to a home team in Montreal. Toronto Blue Jays played yesterday, Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles Angels. And that game was 12-11. 23 runs. It was played in 3.5 hours, and it was extra innings, 12 innings. And I watched the whole thing, David. And last year and previous years, I was tuning out. I was bored out of my mind watching baseball. I watched the whole thing. Do you think that teams will find ways to use analytics to make this bad again? Or is there some things in place that will just make this the new normal?
Well, I think that analytics aren't used to make things bad again. I think they're used to find some sort of competitive advantage to get more wins out of your team. That's really how the shift started. How do we take away hits, and how do we give ourselves a better chance to win a game? That's how you build your roster. That's where winning above replacement, that's where all of these stats come from. Because the only stat that I actually always cared about, and truly the only one that matters, is the W at the end of the game. So you can sometimes outsmart yourself and be the smartest person in the room and win 70 games, and that's not helpful. So I think the front offices do spend the time to analyze this and figure out how they're going to take advantage. Will the left fielder go play short right field so you can do the shift? Will MLB watch that happen and then make all of the outfielders stay in their outfield positions? If the runners are in motion and more people are stealing bases, how will that impact how hitters are approaching? So hitting coaches are looking at that right now, as are managers. How are hitters approaching each individual at-bat? Which then changes how you pitch to the hitters during the at-bat. So we're only beginning to see the ripple effect of these rule changes. But the early returns, I'll grant you, it is exciting. But again, the takeaway, it's early.
We're with David Samson, the former executive vice president of the Montreal Expos, talking about baseball rule changes here. So, David, I've heard people in Major League Baseball, like Theo Epstein, who was in charge of a lot of these rule changes or led the efforts here for the rule changes. I've heard them sort of say at times that this may just be the beginning. They would look at other rule changes to make sure doubles and triples happen, because those are things that don't happen as much anymore in baseball. What's your take? And and remember, after the Expos, you were at the Marlins as president there forever. Internally within Major League Baseball, would you like to see more? Do you think internally inside the league, they want to see even more?
So that's a great question. What the commissioner would do, both Bud Selig and Rob Manfred, they would go to an owners meeting. They'd sit in front of all of us and say, this is your game. Tell me whether or not you like the product. You like what the game has become with all the strikeouts and the walks and the 4-hour games and all of the home runs. Tell me, what game do you want? And the owners said, we think it's a better product if we change the game. But they haven't changed one thing that matters the most, and that is, how do players get paid? If I'm an agent, I'm telling my player, hey, listen, doubles, triples, that's exciting. But in arbitration and free agency, you're getting paid for home runs. You're not getting paid to hit 320. You can hit 240 as long as you hit 40 bombs. What baseball is saying is, hey, what if everyone hit 270 or 290? Wouldn't that be better baseball? But until they change how players get paid, players will generally do that which gets them paid the most money, and that is not doing anything other than getting down on the knob and going for the home run.
Long term, for baseball to succeed, demographics, attention spans, all of that, is it a necessity for the sport to finally change instead of staying in their sort of traditional ways?
I think that every sport changes, and people just criticize baseball's changes more than any other sport, and we never understood why sitting in those meetings, because NFL changes, you've got hockey makes changes, basketball makes changes, and baseball's always sort of monolithic in the way they do things, and I think that is what needs to change, is the view that you can't change. So when I think, is this just the beginning, the answer is, the sport has to evolve over time. We have to acknowledge that there are more statistics, there are more people paying attention, analytics that are happening in their fantasy, or gambling is such a big part of it. How do we make the sport more gambling friendly? There's so much money out there that's gambled in the NFL. We'd love a bigger piece of that. I say we, it's they. They would love a bigger piece of that. So you're going to see some things continue to change. You never get it right on the first try. It's just called evolution. And I think that it's important that Theo is there, but he's not the leader of this. He's the spokesperson of it. The reality is this is something that comes from teams up through the commissioner's office.
David, I went to Miami last month to the World Baseball Classic. I went to the last 4 games. Got to go to the stadium that you built in Miami for the Marlins. Beautiful stadium. I just want to say, I know there was a whole big team, Claude Delorme and others, right, who were part of that. And I just want to say, you nailed it. That stadium's gorgeous.
No, I appreciate it. And Derek Jeter changed a lot of it when he took over, and a lot of the color is gone, and the home run sculpture is gone. But don't get me wrong. Whenever I'm in Miami, I think about that stadium. I think about what I was not able to do in Montreal. And make no mistake, I view myself as a failure in Montreal, even though the team was failing when I got there. But the truth is, I didn't get it done there. And it's hard. You're seeing that in Tampa. You're seeing that in Oakland. It's hard to get a stadium built. But I think about Montreal, to what you said when we started this. I think about that city and you all every day, actually.
David Samson is the host of Nothing Personal with David Samson. And let me tell you something. If you like baseball, you like sports, you like the business of sports, do go check it out. David, you have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You too.